All right, welcome. And hey, forget about those dense, boring technical manuals for a minute. Today, we're going to transform the journey of learning data analysis into a full-blown magical adventure. Yep, you heard that right. We're going on a quest.
So let's dive right in. Every good quest starts with a call to action, right? Well, this one's no different, except it's for a very, very modern problem. See, the king of Dataland, he's practically drowning in information. He needs a hero, someone who can take all that raw, messy data and turn it into actual wisdom.
And who answers the call? Our hero, Bia. She accepts the mission and steps into the magical kingdom of Dataland. Now, this place is just overflowing with numbers, figures, you name it, but true understanding, that's a rare treasure. And you know what? This is basically the starting point for every data analyst.
So right off the bat, Bia faces her first major challenge, and it's a doozy. Before she can even think about doing any analysis, she's got to gather up all this information that's scattered all over the kingdom. We're talking stuff hidden in Excel mountains, SQL forests, and even floating around in cloud castles. And of course, these magical places aren't just for show. They represent the very first, absolutely crucial skill for any data hero, knowing your data sources. I mean, knowing how to connect your tools to everything from a simple little Excel file all the way up to a massive cloud database, that's always step one.
Okay, so she's got all the raw data, now what? Well, Bia's journey takes you to a very special place, a village where she's going to forge all that data into something, well, something usable. This is that critical stage where all the messy, raw stuff gets cleaned up and refined. Here, in what we're calling Power Query Village, Bia meets four little helpers. Now, Trimmy, Splitto, Typo, and Filtera, they're not just cute characters, they're actually stand-ins for the essential tools you use for data transformation. You know, things like trimming extra spaces, splitting columns, fixing data types, and filtering out all the junk you don't need.
And this whole idea, it represents a fundamental truth about data analysis. Look, it might not be the most glamorous part of the job, but you have to remember this. Your final insights, the big aha moments, they are only ever as good as the quality of the data you started with. Garbage in, garbage out, right?
All right, her data is now sparkling clean. So what's next? Bia's next task is a big one. She has to give it structure. She heads to the data model castle to build a strong, logical foundation for all her analysis. This is literally where we create order from chaos.
And inside this castle, she learns to organize her data into two really fundamental types of tables. First up, you've got fact tables. These hold all the numbers and measurements, the what of the story. And then you have dimension tables. These give you all that crucial context, the who, where, and when that makes the numbers make sense.
So she takes these two types of tables and connects them with, well, the story calls them magic ropes, but in the real world, we just call them relationships. And by doing this, she builds this incredibly powerful and organized structure called a star schema. Seriously, this design is pretty much the gold standard in data modeling. Why? Because it's super efficient and it's just really easy to understand.
Okay, now we're getting to the really fun part. The data's clean, it's all structured, so now Belia is finally ready to learn the real magic. The kind of magic that will unlock the answers the king so desperately needs. Yep, it's time for some spellcasting.
And who's going to teach her? None other than the great wizard Dax. His powerful spells, well, they're actually a special language of formulas, and the wizard's wisdom here is absolutely key. With Dax, you're not just looking at the data you already have, you're actually creating brand new information and insights that didn't exist before.
So let's look at a few of these starter spells. You've got sum, which, you guessed it, adds up numbers like total sales. You've got count rows to count things like how many sales happen. But the real powerhouse spell, the one you have to know, is calculate. This thing is like a magic wand. It lets BIA change the entire context of a calculation, which allows for some incredibly deep and flexible analysis.
You know, what's so cool about this is that our hero's entire journey perfectly maps to a real-world project workflow. Think about it. You start by defining the problem, then you collect the data, clean it, build a model, write some formulas, and finally, build your visuals. This isn't just a fairy tale. It's a practical, repeatable, professional process that works every time.
Okay, let's get to the climax of our quest. After all that hard work and preparation, it's finally time for Bia to present her findings to the king and hopefully save the kingdom. This is the moment where all that data gets turned into a compelling story.
So, after all that gathering, all that cleaning, modeling, and calculating, what was the hidden truth buried in Dataland's numbers? What was the real reason the kingdom was in trouble?
Get this. The answer wasn't some huge, complicated web of problems. It was shockingly simple. The problem was just one thing. One, a single underperforming product was dragging the entire kingdom's economy down. And how did she prove it? No way was she going to show the king a giant, scary spreadsheet. Instead, she used a dashboard of simple yet incredibly powerful visuals. A bar chart to compare products side by side, a line chart to show the sales trend cratering over time, and a map to pinpoint exactly where this was happening. Each visual told a crucial piece of the story.
And that right there is the real power of data visualization. By turning a massive cloud of confusing data points into a clear, simple visual story, Bizia gave the king more than just a bunch of numbers. She gave him a specific, actionable insight, something he could actually use to make a decision and save the kingdom.
You see, this journey from a vague, kingdom-wide problem to a very precise, solvable issue, that is the true magic of data analysis. And it leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Bia found the hidden story in her data. So what amazing story is just waiting to be discovered in yours?